a little bit, because when he gets hot, this whole thing changes.
Big time. With Keegan Matheson, MLB.com. And, you mentioned that even with him playing the way he's playing, they're a playoff contending team. I mean, they're leading the American League at the All-Star break. But if he gets back to where he was in the second half last year, where he was a few years ago, that launches them, into possibly World Series caliber. And I think that's accurate, and I think that's important to point out. Like, the goalposts have moved here when you consider where we were 3 or 4 months ago, where I don't think anyone was anticipating they'd be leading the division at the All-Star break, that at any point during the year they'd run off 10 straight wins, that they'd sweep the Yankees in a 4-game series. Like, none of this seemed possible. How far have those goalposts moved for you now, to the point, in terms of accountability for the team, the front office? Like, is it now playoffs or bust, where if somehow it spirals out of control and they miss, that's a massive failure? Like, how do you project the rest of the way in terms of expectations today compared to where they were 3 or 4 months ago?
Totally different. If they miss, it's a disaster at this point. And how they've gotten here impresses me so much. If you'd told me 3 months ago that everybody's hurt, Santander gives them no value, Vladdy is just okay, I'd expect they would be 3 or 4 games below 500. Because I thought this was a 500 baseball team coming into the year. I really did. And good or bad luck, maybe it puts you 5 games in either direction. I didn't expect this. And if you are a small market team with a $50 million payroll, sure, maybe you look at it as luck. Golly gee, let's try to catch this. But no, this is a huge market with a huge payroll. And I think this team needs to take that seriously. And I think the coverage of it needs to be serious as well. There's no longer room to be satisfied just to sneak in with the third wild card and be invited to the party. They need to be the biggest and loudest person at that party at this point. The trade deadline needs to be part of that, but it's right in front of them, guys. With the trade deadline, with how aggressive they are down the stretch, I'm going to keep coming back to the idea of, if not now, then when? When else is going to be a better time to go all in than right now? When the Yankees are beatable, when the AL is open, and this is a surprise year, but when you get a pleasant surprise like this, you've got to ride it, especially with Bo Bichette, a potential free agent next year, Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer, Chad Green. That's money off the books. You can reload, you can reset, but the goalposts have moved, and I think every conversation now needs to go along with that. It's about the division. It's not about the playoffs even. It's about winning the AL East, period. I think that people in Toronto should start talking how people in New York and Boston talk every year. It's the division.
So what would a perfect deadline look like? Is that take it from there. Is it a starter? Is it a closer? Is it a bat? All the above?
Yeah, good question. When you break down realistically what they can come out of this with, guys, it's all about ceiling. Now, we've seen this year, they have enough big leaguers. In past years, they kind of needed a number 5 just to get there. They needed that veteran utility infielder just to get there. They don't need that right now. They have 20 infielders. They have 40 outfielders. They're fine there. Any addition needs to raise the ceiling. So if you're looking at a hitter, you need to be talking about Eugenio Suarez. You need to be talking about the big guys. If you're talking about starting pitchers, yeah, it's fun to talk about guys like Keller who could help out the rotation, but you should also be talking about Lugo and Jacob deGrom, guys who can, again, start game 1, 2, or 3 of a postseason series. The bullpen's definitely going to be part of this, but I do think that a big addition to the rotation here, guys, would really take this team to the next level. And I keep coming back to Jose Barrios, how they got Barrios back in 2021 this was. He still had a year left on his deal. They took on that year, they extended him. Looking forward, Scherzer's gone, Bassett's gone, Gausman has 2 years left, and he's gone. They need to find the next guy to be there alongside Barrios, alongside Trey Savage. They've got money, man. They've got tons of money. And if there's a small market team looking to unload a guy and his money, I think the Blue Jays should be all over that.
Yeah, I like that idea. And, in terms of forecasting Max Scherzer and his role in the rest of the regular season, if he's healthy, he's going to pitch. Jonas and I were, talking about the playoffs. Like, is there any possibility you see him, if he's healthy and his arm is live, that he's an option for them? Let's say they're in a wild card, best 2 out of 3. He gets the ball in one of those 3 games.
I think he is. At this point, it would be part of a strategy where you think you're only going to get 4 or 5 innings. It could also be Max Scherzer coming in after Jose Barrios. Ideally, you do that with a bit more of a plan, and we're not talking Barrios Gucci here. Nobody's shaking and having nightmares
They
tonight.
can never do that again.
Is that going to happen
Never
again, Keegan?
again.
Like,
Yeah.
is it possible that happens again?
Not that early. It can't happen that early again. It would have to be a Barrios is going to pitch until he's done, and then somebody else comes in. But if Max Scherzer is one of your few best pitchers, and he very well can be, like he just looked real good in his last couple, he's got to stay healthy. And if you get to the postseason, I think you can talk about using him in shorter bursts as well. At this point right now, I would not want to have that conversation with Max Scherzer. I think he would put me through a wall if I suggested shorter bursts for the Hall of Famer. But as a starter, he's holding up, and his stuff still looks good. Yeah, the thumb's a problem, but when he's good, his stuff is still legit major league strikeout stuff. And when I look at this rotation, guys, like let's line it up for a ALDS. Gausman and Barrios are probably up there in games 1 and 2. What's Bassett going to be at that point? Will Eric Lauer still be this good story, or will teams figure him out? I'd probably bet on Scherzer, honestly, right now being third in line at that point.
Yeah. I mean, that would just be an incredible story. And ultimately, that's what you would be paying him $15 million for, that start. Right, Keegan? Like everything else is gravy. Like he missed a lot of time. He's looked pretty good recently. He seems healthy enough to probably give you another, 6, 7 starts. He's going to miss one or two, I think, down the stretch. I'm fully anticipating that.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're in a big game and Scherzer's on the mound and he gives you good stuff, they got all the money in the world. That's worth $15 million. Like that would be worth it for him.
Yeah, when we talk about wins above replacement, what's one WAR worth these days? 9 or 10 million. People kind of chart that out as one playoff win is worth all the money in the world.
Yeah,
right? It doesn't matter. That immediately, if Max Scherzer wins a playoff game, gives them 5 innings of 1-run ball, that's the best deal they've made, Max Scherzer, because it's big moments, and in the postseason, it's a little different. Those moments get big for a starting pitcher, especially if you are in Yankee Stadium or something like that, and every single person in that stadium hates you and is chanting your name. Max Scherzer can handle that. He would probably be cursing into his glove and going a little wild, and he'd like it. Man, if he can win a postseason game, nothing else matters.
I saw him throw a no-hitter in Washington.
Did you?
Yeah, it was very cool.
Nice.
And I think, if I'm remembering it right, it should have been a perfect game, but Jose Tabata, I think, stepped in front of the pitch. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to ask.
Greasy.
Yeah, right at the end, it was like a big controversy, and anyway.
Gutless.
Keegan, Santander, do you have any expectations for him the rest of the year? Are they high? Are they low? Are they non-existent?
I think it's best just not to, honestly, at this point. That's not a knock on Santander where he's at, but I just think realistically, if you're the Blue Jays and you're trying to build a roster, you need to treat Santander kind of like how I look at Alek Manoah right now as well, guys coming back from Tommy John, as a bonus. If he surprises you and comes back and helps out, bonus. Okay, that's building on top of what you've already got. But Anthony Santander, guys, I'm starting to feel like last year when I would annoy John Schneider every single day by saying, hey, is there a Joey Votto update? And he'd say, Keegs. And I'd be like, okay, same thing. With Santander, is he swinging a bat yet? No. And ideally that happens soon. But even when he starts swinging a bat, there's a full build up once again. You've got to have no setbacks. And guys, we talked a lot 3-4 months ago about how Anthony Santander is a slow starter every single year. Is it about the weather or how far into the season he is? I don't know. Is this still early if he comes back? So no guarantee he's going to come back and slug a bunch of home runs either. So I think you need to count anything from him as a bonus this year and then completely reset 2026.
Ooh, man, that would
pricey
be tough.
Bonus.
That's a pricey one, man. You gotta hope he comes alive at some point, offers you any sense of production. And at this point, he's DHing. Right? If he returns, he's just going to DH. He's not playing in the outfield. All right, Keegan. We'll catch you here Wednesday afternoon, buddy. We can't wait.
Can't wait, fellas. We'll see you then.
You got it. Keegan Matheson, MLB.com. He'll be in here for Overdrive on Wednesday with Frankie Corrado. We're looking forward to that. And Something to Chew On was brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. All right, we'll come back with our best bets, and we're going to start looking ahead to the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. McIlroy almost got it yesterday in Scotland. He's right there. Scheffler's going to be in the hunt. Final major of the year. It's crazy. We're already reaching the final major of the year. One more slam in tennis. Just rolling through New York. That's it.
Then it's September.
And before you know it, hockey's in the air. The NFL's back. It happens quick. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.